The Pittsburgh Steelers are hoping for a resurgent season out of Aaron Rodgers after his rough stint with the New York Jets last year. Rodgers was brought in this offseason, with Steelers fans desperate for competent quarterback play, something they haven't seen in the better part of a decade when Ben Roethlisberger was at the controls. So far, Steelers training camp has provided a mixed bag of results on the Rodgers front, and one consistent theme for Rodgers has been completing passes in the area of defensive back Juan Thornhill. Steelers beat writer Mike DeFabua of The Athletic was in attendance for practice on Wednesday and provided fans with the latest updates from training camp. Juan Thornhill intercepts Aaron Rodgers to end the 2-minute drill for the second straight day, reported DeFabua on X, formerly Twitter. Thornhill has won 2 Super Bowl championships in his NFL career so far, both with the Kansas City Chiefs, and signed with the Steelers on a 1-year deal this offseason. Steelers fans will be hoping that the interceptions say more about the savvy veteran skills of Thornhill than they do an inability to read defenses on the part of Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't give fans a ton to be optimistic about during his stint last year with the New York Jets. While he was far from the only problem in the Big Apple, Rodgers looked like a far cry from the MVP version of himself that existed just 2 years earlier with the Green Bay Packers. The Steelers tried their hand with a different aging quarterback last year, Russell Wilson, who took over midway through the season after a lukewarm start from Justin Fields. Wilson wasn't able to carry the Steelers' offense much further than Fields did, and Pittsburgh ended up losing in the wild card round of the playoffs once again, this time versus the Baltimore Ravens. Still, if Rodgers is able to rekindle some of his Packers magic this year, the Steelers could be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. This month, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be able to get a much better idea of what their 2025-26 roster will look like. Free agent pickups, NFL draft picks, and more will be battling it out for depth chart positioning during the preseason. One player, in particular, has a lot on the line. Defensive lineman DeMarvin Leal, who's technically more of an outside linebacker these days, is that man. The former third-round Steelers draft pick is facing plenty of pressure to perform. With that in mind, could he be expendable? That's what Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report believes. In his list of players teams should put on the trade block, Leal made the cut. Steelers urged to part ways with former third-round pick via trade. The Steelers have a defined hierarchy of pass rushers at the top. Players like T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward set the tone for everyone else. That can be a blessing for those looking to fill a complementary role, although it can also serve as a curse. Knox thinks the latter may come into play for Leal. Even with his position change and versatility he's flashed at camp, it may not be enough to carve out a real role. After re-signing Isaiah Loudermilk and using a first-round pick on Derek Harmon, the Steelers may not have a role for Leal along the line, Knox wrote. During OTAs, Pittsburgh started to give the 25-year-old some work at outside linebacker, according to Mark Kavaley of The Pat McAfee Show. For Leal, it's a numbers game that he's unlikely to win. The top of the OLB chart is set with T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig, and Pittsburgh added Jack Sawyer in April. The Steelers will save $1.4 million in cap space whether they release or trade Leal, but they should make him available via trade before outright cutting him. Since going 84th overall in 2022, Leal has yet to break out for the Steelers. In 28 regular season games, he's mustered just 33 tackles and a single sack. The Texas A&M product seemed destined to improve a bit in year 3, but an injury cut his season short. Now Leal is attempting to find a spot in a crowded defensive line or outside linebacker room. Should Leal play out his age 25 season in Pittsburgh, it seems likely that it'd be in a limited capacity. After that, the team would have every reason to let him depart in free agency. Leal may not count in the compensatory formula. To Knox's point, why not take advantage of your current depth and try to snag a late-round pick right now? Pittsburgh defense looking sharp again in 2025-26. If there's one thing the Steelers can count on, it's their defense. After ranking 10th in scoring and 13th in yards 2 seasons ago, they slotted in at 6th and 21st, respectively, in 2023. Last year, those figures were 8th and 12th. During the most recent regular season, Terrell Austin's unit sat at 10th in EPA/play surrendered per Sumer Sports. Pittsburgh's suffocating run defense helped buoy the team's overall ranking. The Steelers' secondary needed an injection of talent, though. That's exactly what General Manager Omar Khan gave it this summer. Out is All-Pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, but in are cornerbacks Darius Slade Jr., Jalen Ramsey, and Brandon Echols. Safety pickups Juan Thornhill and Chuck Clark figure to add some talent on the back end. This year's defensive backfield has more versatility and a higher potential outcome than 2024's group. Of course, the same mainstays like Watt and Hayward will be the heart and soul of the defense. As Knox mentioned, bringing in someone like Harmon makes the pass rush even scarier. At off-ball linebacker, Patrick Queen didn't have the 2024 he wanted to, but is still viewed as a premier player in the NFL. If the defense takes a step back this year, it won't be a talent problem. Hypothetically, losing someone like Leal and gaining something in return would be an acceptable practice. The Pittsburgh Steelers have Aaron Rodgers in place as their starting quarterback for the 2025 NFL season, but he has announced that the upcoming camping will be his last. After he retires, which he has said will be next offseason, the team will need to find a long-term replacement. Will Howard is currently on the roster after being selected in the 6th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. He could be in line to be a future starter, but the Steelers might look elsewhere. How about current Texas Longhorns quarterback Arch Manning? Manning has become one of the top buzz conversations in sports. He is set to be the full-time starter for the Longhorns in 2025 for the first time. Being the nephew of NFL legends Peyton Manning and Eli Manning has brought a lot of attention to him. Many believe that he is a future number 1 overall pick. While there's been a lot of buzz about Manning potentially entering the 2026 NFL Draft, it seems much more likely that he will come out of college in 2027. Could Pittsburgh consider targeting Manning to be their future franchise quarterback? That is exactly what Tyler Sullivan of CBS Sports has suggested. With an aging roster, particularly on defense, 2026 could prove to be a transition year for Pittsburgh, where they shed some of their older talent and set up building blocks for the future, Sullivan wrote. That would likely result in a poor record, thus creating the avenue for the Steelers to land Manning. In this scenario, they can truly begin building around a young quarterback instead of the one-year veteran experiments they've conducted over the last few years. It could make sense for the Steelers to be viewed as a future destination for Manning. Should things unfold as Sullivan suggested, they might be in a position to pursue the Texas standout. Obviously, it's a bit early to discuss Manning as if he's already a franchise-caliber quarterback. He still has a lot to prove at the college level. That being said, if Manning lives up to the hype and reaches the ceiling that has been suggested for him, he has superstar potential. Pittsburgh would be a team that would likely have interest, as would any other team that needs a quarterback. Expect to continue hearing connections between NFL teams and Manning. For now, the Steelers are worth keeping an eye on.